एहसास न्याय का सबके लिए, आकाश न्याय का सबके लिए.
Hello everyone, I am Advocate Jatin Ramaya and I have the honor to welcome you all for Goa State Legal Services Authority's virtual Judicare series. Today, in fact, is at the eve of celebrating the Independence Day. Well, the month of August holds that significance because in this full month we make an attempt and an endeavor to remember the sacrifices made by the freedom fighters and our forefathers to give us liberties and rights which our constitution has engraved and envisaged over the years. Well, it's just apt that the Goa State Legal Services Authority has decided to discuss this very topic, fundamental rights and directive principles as envisaged in the Constitution of India. And who other person would be better to discuss and enlighten us about this topic than the President of the Goa High Court Bar Association, Advocate G.P. Mulgaonkar. Well, Advocate Mulgaonkar needs no introduction for those who have been in Goa for a long time. Well, anybody who's practiced or been in Goa or has anything to do with legal fraternity or a case has definitely seen this steadfast yet a gentleman lawyer. Advocate Mulgaonkar has about 40 years of experience in litigating and advising people about their rights and responsibilities. And therefore, I think it's an honor to have Advocate Mulgaonkar to enlighten about this very topic. Well, now I invite Senior Advocate J.P. Mulgaonkar to enlighten us about this topic. Mr. Mulgaonkar, all over to you.
Let's have a quick look at the fundamental rights and directive principles which find place in chapters 3 and 4 of our Constitution. Dr. Ambedkar described them as the heart and soul of the Constitution. One other constitutional scholar calls them the conscience of the Constitution. There are good reasons why they have been so glorified. For this, let us go a little into the background in which our Constitution was formed. The first meeting of the Constituent Assembly was held on 9 December 1946. On 13 December 1946, Prime Minister Nehru moved Objectives Resolution in the Assembly, which laid down that India shall be a sovereign democratic republic and authority would be derived from the people. The aims of our Constitution are deeply rooted in our struggle for freedom, and these find fullest expression in the preamble to the Constitution, which speaks of securing equality of status and opportunity, the social, political and economic justice, liberty of speech and expression, and assuring fraternity, dignity of the individual, and the unity and integrity of the nation. Dr. Ambedkar called these three principles, liberty, equality, and fraternity, as the union of three principles. In his closing speech, which I can do no better but to quote Dr. Ambedkar himself on what he said on this trinity of principles. And he said, I quote, "Political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy. It means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality, and fraternity as the principles of life. These principles are not to be treated as separate. They form a union of trinity. Liberty cannot be divorced from equality. The equality cannot be divorced from liberty. Nor can liberty and equality be divorced from fraternity. Without equality, liberty would produce the supremacy of the few over many. Equality without liberty would kill individual initiative. Without fraternity, liberty and equality could not become the natural course of things. It would require a constable to enforce them. The individual is placed at the heart of fundamental rights chapter. The fundamental rights limit the powers of the state to encroach upon the rights of the citizens. Fundamental rights are not gift of the state to the citizen. The fundamental rights are not creation of the Constitution. Every individual possesses these basic rights by virtue of being a human person, human being. Our Constitution guarantees them, protects them, prohibits the state from making any law which takes away or abrases them, declares that any law, existing law, which existed before the commencement of the Constitution, become void if they are inconsistent with the fundamental rights, and when within the definition of law are also the customs and usages which are the force of law. The right to equality means that the state is to deny no one equality before the law and equal protection of law. Not discriminate against any citizen on grounds of only of religion, caste, sex, place of birth, and that there shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens in matters relating to employment and appointment to any office under the state. However, this does not prevent the state from making any special provisions for women and children, for advancement of backward classes, socially and educationally backward classes of citizens, or for scheduled castes and tribes, or for making reservation for appointment or posts in favor of any backward class citizens which is not adequately represented in the service under the state. The right to freedom means all citizens have a right to freedom of speech and expression, to assemble peaceably and without arms, to form associations and unions, and to move freely throughout the territory of India, to reside and settle in any part of India, and to practice any profession or carry out any trade or business. The freedoms are, however, are not absolute. They are subject to reasonable restrictions, and restraints does not prevent the state from making laws in the interest of sovereignty and integrity of India, friendly relations with foreign countries, public order, decency or morality, contempt of court, defamation, and incitement of offense. Article 21 of the Fundamental Rights chapter is one of the most significant articles. It only says that no person is to be deprived of his life and personal liberty except according to the procedure established by law. As our Constitution has evolved, by interpretation put to Article 21 by the Supreme Court over the years, Article 21 has received expansive interpretation. The horizons have been extended. The life under the is not to be a mere animal existence. It's a life with human dignity. And then in every case of a complaint of deprivation of life and liberty, the court has to decide not only there is a law authorizing the deprivation, but whether the procedure prescribed by such law is reasonable and fair and just. The validity of such law is also to be tested with reference to the Equality Clause under Article 14 and the right to freedom conferred by Article 19 of the Constitution. Then there are provisions in the Chapter 3 for the protection of minorities. The democracy by definition is a government by majority. But the test of democracy is how the minorities are protected. And there are adequate provisions made in Chapter 3 for protection of the minorities. The minorities are allowed to protect their language, script and culture. And subject to public order, morality, health and other provisions in Part 3, all persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience and the right to freely profess, practice and propagate religion in every religion's denominations. And there are articles in the Constitution that not only limit the encroachment on the fundamental rights of citizens by the state, but by the society, by the fellow citizens. And they are contained in Article 17, which abolishes the untouchability, Article 15.2, which lays down that no citizen shall suffer any disability in the use of shops, restaurants, wells, roads, and other public places on account of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Article 23 is against exploitation. It prohibits traffic in human beings and forced labor. The state has obligation to protect citizens, rights of citizens from encroachment by society as well. Article 32 may in effect be one of the most important articles in Chapter 3. It confers the right to move the Supreme Court for the enforcement of fundamental rights. The fundamental rights are made justiciable, which only means that any citizen can move the court in case there is a violation, complaining of that violation, and seek redress. This is in contrast to the directive principles, which are explicitly made not justiciable. One cannot move the court if for the enforcement of directive principles. But the directive principles are not mere platitudes. The directive principles in fact give a clearer statement of social transformation which the Constitution aims at freeing the masses from, in a very positive sense. They are fundamental to the governance of the country, and the courts have been increasingly interpreting the fundamental rights in harmony with the directive principles. Can the Constitution, fundamental rights be changed, amended by the government of the day or the parliament when a party in power has huge majority? Now that was being a question of debate. It was set to rest in a 1973 judgment, celebrated judgment in Keshavananda Bharati case, where 13 judges by majority decided that, well, yes, even fundamental rights can be amended by the Constitution, but they cannot alter the basic structure. The basic structure, and what is basic structure? Over the years they have been indicated, it is not an exhaustive list of things, but one can look at that. The rule of law, the secular character of our polity, the power of judicial review. These are some of the aspects which a government, even with a brutal majority, can alter by amending the Constitution. You cannot use the powers of Constitution to destroy the core values of the Constitution. That is what ultimately the courts have held, and that is what has saved our Constitution and the core values which our founding fathers have enshrined in the Constitution. I have, within that time, tried to sum up and familiarize with what the fundamental rights and directive principles are all about. I am indeed most grateful to the Goa State Legal Services Authority for giving me this opportunity of sharing my thoughts on such an important subject. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for an enlightening talk. And I'm sure the viewers today will be benefited from your simplified version of what the Constitution ensures and guarantees us. As for viewers today, I request you to kindly share, subscribe and like this video, because this video has to reach to every individual in your contact list, so we all are made aware of what the Constitution bestows upon us. Once again, I wish you a very happy Independence Day in advance. I hope everybody is safe. Thank you very much.
राष्ट्रीय न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण
न्यायालयातल्या कारवाई खातीर बरो वकील मेळोवन दिता.
वेळार योग्य कायदा खालची मदत आणि सल्लो दिता.
लोक अदालत द्वारा चढ काळच्या केसीक बेगीन सोपयता
आणि तेवूय सामके मोफत.
राष्ट्रीय न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण, बेस बरो न्याय, बेस बरो समाज.
अधिक माहिती खातीर लागच्या न्यायालयातल्या न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण कार्यालया लागीं संपर्क करा
वा टोल फ्री नंबर 151000 चेर फोन करा.